Hello everyone, I hope you all doing well. Welcome to the tutorial of building a chatbot with Pytorch. So, First of all, before moving on, uh, you need to have a basic knowledge of these things in case you want to properly implement the model. You can just run this without this knowledge uh, with the way I'm going to show you, but it is preferred that you know these sort of things so that you can use this exact model in any of your a commercial project or any personal project as well. So you need Python 3. Okay, so Python 3 is really important when it comes to development, as you already know that Python 2 is now obsolete, and the companies that were already using Python 2 have started to shift towards Python 3. Well, Python 2 had a huge code base, so it isn't an easy thing to do, so that you can't just change things in a second or so. So everyone is shifting towards Python 3. The latest iteration of Python is 3.9, whereas we're going to be using 3.7. It is con- you should always develop on one or two iteration back, because that is the most stable version that is compatible with almost every library. So we're going to be using Python 3.7, and you need to know about dictionary and lists. These are basic things, not some high-end stuff that you need to know. So the other thing that you need to know is called NumPy. In case you don't know, this is a library of Python, where numerical Python, which is implemented in C++, and you can read further details on the internet. There is a lot of documentation available. Its documentation is also available on the PyPy website as well. So the other library is pandas. Even though we haven't used pandas that much in this tutorial, but in case you're using a different data set or anything, you need pandas. That is a must-have thing. So now coming to the main component, PyTorch. Well, you have different models, different libraries in which you can implement your model, machine learning or deep learning model, whether it may be TensorFlow, it can be scikit-learn or Keras or Thanos, whatever it may be. But we are going to be using PyTorch. It is developed by Facebook and it is open source, and one of the most uh, you can say a good thing about PyTorch is that it doesn't require a ton of knowledge about anything that you want to implement. Like we have implemented a chatbot with PyTorch, you're going to realize a bit later that how much easy this is to implement a chatbot or any model in PyTorch as compared to other languages. So that's about it. And one last thing, you should know about natural language processing. Basically, it is the domain of machine learning which deals with teaching a computer how it would understand the language of humans, whether it may be in text, voice, or images, whatever it may be. So, I just read a few articles about it here and there. You'll know it. Uh, this isn't a difficult thing. Also, we're going to be implementing, um, you can say, we're going to be using an approach which is called back of words, which is going to be explained uh, afterwards in the same tutorial. So let's get started. Well, now one thing that I've implemented this using Google Colab, because it is a free online, uh, you can say ID. I wouldn't say ID because it doesn't develop programs or anything. It is sort of a notebook, uh, Jupyter notebook. It supports Jupyter notebook and is assigned to a specific machine, like this one. We're just gonna allocate it. So that's why I use this. You can also use your local machine as well. If you're using your local machine, you can just get rid of this entire tutorial. You can just hide this, okay? But for those of you who have chosen to go with Google Colab as well. So let me just guide you through that how we can use it. Also, if you're having any troubles with the code or anything, I have uh, assigned similar tags and with its relevant content. You can just click on any of these and you'll get to the right cell. Okay, so as I was saying that Google Colab provides you a machine which has specific RAM and disk and processor which can help you run your deep learning or machine learning model. It supports Python. So what you need to do is, if you want to load some files that are stored in your Google Drive, all you need to do is run this code, and after running this cell you need to go to your Google Drive and right click like this on the file that you want to uh, include in your notebook. Okay, you're going to right click on this and you're going to see pop-up which is going to say get link. Okay, so you're going to click on that and its formatting will be something drive.com slash d slash, and it will be going to be ending at this link. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to copy the code between uh, this and this, and you're going to paste it here where I have specified the file ID. Okay, so you're going to run this, and what this basically does is it fetches that file from your drive and it saves it to your Google Colab directory, and you can change the name of the file to whatever you want. This name is the name which is going to be stored on your machine. So uh, let's talk about chatbots. Well, chatbot is an artificial intelligence software which can stimulate a conversation with an user in natural language, as said earlier. Well, long story short, a chatbot is a machine learning model, AI model, or software which can interact with you, talk with you, or you can say interact with you in such a way that you feel like you're talking to a normal person, depending and its implementation varies on depending on what sort of implementation have you chosen, like if you use a text-based model or an image-based model or an audio-based model. So also, why are chatbots important? Well, chatbot is often described as one of the most advanced and promising expressions of interaction between human and machines. Well, according to its technological point of view, chatbot represents the natural evolution of question answering system leveraging natural language processing. Well, to put it into perspective, we use chatbot models because firstly, it lays a great foundation of a person if someone wants to go into the field of natural language processing, because it can be considered as the hello world of NLP. Okay, so it is a great approach that you first implement a chatbot model so you can understand how everything is working, so you can uh, proceed in NLP in the future as well. So that sums it up. Now, another thing that we're going to be making custom functions of some things, like we have a code here. You can just run it directly, there would be no issues, but the code wouldn't be cleaner and you'll have different issues if you want to debug it or anything. Uh, if you miss a bracket or anything, you'll jump into some issues. So in order to avoid that, I've used functions in which I've written these same lines, so it is easy for you to implement. So now we're going to get some stuff ready, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import these libraries. And for example, if you don't have pandas or JSON or NLTK not installed in uh, your notebook, you can just run this command install, and whatever library name you want to install. Like if I want to install NLTK, I'll type pip install NLTK, and this exclamation marks, what it basically does is it tells the notebook that I want to switch to the terminal, and it runs this command at the backend terminal. So all of your libraries are installed accordingly. And also, if you're running this the first time, you might need to run this command. Okay, and in case this doesn't work, you can run. What this does is this downloads. NLTK is a huge library of natural language processing, and you don't want all the clutter which takes up space in your storage. So if you want to download a specific library or data set from NLTK, you can just specify the name here. We're going to be using Punkti. Okay, it's totally up to you if you want to download the whole thing or just one package. So moving on. Now, one thing to clear out, if you're coming from traditional machine learning or anything, its pre-processing is quite different from NLP. In, you can say, normal traditional regression problems or deep learning problems, you uh, you clean the data by replacing missing values or incorrect values, removing outliers and such that sort of things, and you're dealing with a data frame in which you're cleaning consistently. But here in NLP, things are quite different. You'll be given a simple text file. It may be a paragraph, it might be a sentence, it might be a word as well. So what you need to do is you need to perform a few steps, which is called pre-processing in NLP. You need to modify the data so our model can to understand and it can generalize better. So the very first technique we're going to be using is we're going to split each and every uh, sentence into its separate array item. Like the first index of a list is going to store the first sentence, and we can split it into words as well depending on the problem. And also what we're going to do is, for example, if you have three words like walk, walked, and walking, you know, we as human know that this is the same word like walk. These are different forms of verb. One is second form and third form, and third is a gerund, and this and that. But the computer doesn't know that. So in order to convert it into its base form, we have to remove these ending words like ed and ing and everything that comes after that. So this process is called stemming, and sometimes you might it might return you with a weird word like which makes no sense, like sen- sensing. And for example, the word was sensing, and the word that the stemming process returned was sense. We all know that the e is missing, but the computer understand this better than our traditional words. So this is going to be correct in this tense. Uh, we're going to be we will be introducing a new concept called lemmatization, and this is out of the scope of this class, this tutorial, and I will also be uploading a tutorial on that as well. You can watch that as well. So till now, just understand that stemming is this process which I just explained. Now, coming to our main elephant in the room, What is bag of words? Well, what it basically does is, as I said earlier, that we are going to be converting every word in your document into its separate uh, array element or list element. So now, after that, you've compiled a list of all words. What you need to do is you're going to loop over every sentence, okay? And you're going to be making a new array of zeros, which will be called uh, bag of words, and it will initially have zero. Just a second. Okay, so it will initially have uh, all zeros, but just a second. So it will initially have zero. The list will be filled entirely with zeros, and we're going to loop over each element in the all words list, and we're going to check if there is a word present in that sentence at that index corresponding to the element in the sentence, and we're going to just turn that 0 to 1 if that is present. Like you can see, we have hello here and we have hello here, and we will first going to check hi. There is no hi, it will remain 0, you can see here. And we're going to check hello, hello is there, we're going to switch it to 1, you can see there. And after that, we're going to see that if there is an I, there is no I. We're going to check if there is U. Yes, there is U, and we're going to turn the array element to 1, and the rest will be 0 because there is no word found in the sentence. And this is how we will implement it. We're going to be using list comprehension, that it is easy. Here we have generated the array of zeros, and now this command will split each and every word in your entire document into an array, like I explained earlier, like this. Also, if you're having any issues, I took a lot of time writing this tutorial, and so you guys can understand. Still, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. You can contact me on my GitHub. My entire details are provided there. So, now what we're going to do is we're going to load and clean the data. Uh, this is the data that we're dealing with. The data set is stored with in a file called intents.json, and this is what JSON looks like. That's pretty much the basic formatting of it. Okay, so just a second. This is the format of it. If you look closely, this seems familiar with our dictionary in Python, or a list of a dictionary of lists. Yeah, it gets confusing. Bear with me. And these are not so difficult things. You can easily understand when you're implementing it yourself. So moving on, we're going to load it with this function. Now you can also load it with you can say open function and then close it. But the downside of this is sometimes we forget to close the file, and that causes memory leakage. So that's why we're using this specific syntax. And soon as your entire thing is loaded, uh, this function or this method exits, and this file is closed automatically, so there is no memory leakage. This is how we uh, filter the values, because this was the initial pattern of JSON. We're going to be manually looping through each element and filtering it to this relevant arrays. Now we're going to be using the same functions that we uh, prepared earlier in here, these functions, and we're going to be sorting everything and removing punctuation marks and everything. So we will be stemming the words, we will be duplicating and sorting, all sorts of stuff. This will be the new format. Now we're going to be creating our training data. Now you can see here we're going to assign each label to each corresponding entry, and also there's a process called one hot encoding. I have explained it here. You can also search it about online as well, but we're not using it here, so we're not going to spend time explaining it. Now coming to the Pytorch model. Well, this is the Pytorch model, and well, the torch library, it is here. It provides multiple, you can say, models that are pre-built, but the thing with that is that that is just a reference model. We have to uh, modify the each and every model according to our own needs. So what I have done here is that I have implemented a class. You need to know a bit of OOP to know what's going on here, and we've inherited a class called nn.module, and we've used a super function which inherits the all the functions of its parents initializer, and we're going to be defining three linear layers with hidden size. These are all hyperparameters which will be explained further in the course, and then we're going to be defining the forward network, and here we haven't applied any activation or softmax at the end. So you can read about what is a freeform neural network activation function, ReLU, and ReLU function derivative here. Uh, Everything is explained here nicely. So now we're going to assign the dataset and its functionality here. That if these are magic functions, you need to learn more about it. You can learn more about it on Google as well. Just Google what is magic function as well. What this basically does is if you're fetching the dataset directly, this will return this x and y tuples, and if you run this line of the dataset, it will not raise an error, rather it will return whatever you have specified in this model. So don't worry about that. These are just helpful techniques. These are not required, but these are preferred that you guys use them. And here we're going to be defining our hyperparameters. We're going to be defining our epochs. I have specified here 1000, which means it is going to run 1000 times. Its learning rate is 0.001. You can change it, fiddle with it, and choose whatever the best. This is just my assumption that I've used here, and I've specified the batch size and input size as well, hidden size, output size, and everything. And we're going to be choosing. Now we're going to be instantiating the model and activating the model, and train loader as well, loading the dataset as well. And the loss function we're going to be using is called entropy loss. You can read more about it online, and the optimizer we're going to be using here is called Adam. Now training the model. Uh, we will simply train the model like this. Everything is explained here. You can see it. Now we're going to be save it uh, with this function that is pre-built in torch.save, and what this basically does is this saves the model in case we need to uh, you can say use it for any of our uh, future projects. Okay, so you can deploy it to the Flask web app as well, so it can interact with web applications. Now, after we have saved the model, we are going to load our model. Here we are loading the same files. No need to rerun that because we have already run that. And we're going to be defining input size, this, and this, just like before, nothing different. We're going to be implementing the model in same method, and we're going to be loading the file with this command. This is important. We're going to run this. Uh, we're going to run this valuation function method, which returns that we're using a relu. You can learn more about it on the PyPy website as well. Okay, now how you use a chatbot? Now you've run this everything, and this will be sample output that what you can say prefer from this, and we're using a while infinite loop so that it runs indefinitely unless you press quit. So we've asked from him, hi there, what can you do? Do you have money? Uh, I asked him, hey. He replied with, hi there, what can I do for you? I asked, do you have money? He said, we have coffee and tea. Well, this is a tricky question. You can't make a computer understand that what you're trying to say, but still, you made him understand, and he replied correctly. So, I said I have cash only. He said we accept Visa, Mastercard, and PayPal. Uh, I said I have Visa. He said I do not understand. Now, also, our model isn't going to be that much accurate like Alexa or Siri because our training set was quite low. You can look here. We have all this set only, and you can see the performance on this set, that how good it is performing with such small set. Okay, so you don't need to worry about anything. If you want a better model, just change its data set, clean it, like I explained, and like I explained in this notebook as well. So model will be more accurate. Now I'm asking, what is your name? Hello, thanks for visiting. Bye, have a nice day. Thanks, my pleasure. Good morning. Hello. And now you can read the entire conversation. It is uh, understanding me quite clearly. Even there are some things that were not present in this same model, yet it understood what I was trying to say. That is the benefit of deep learning and neural networks. So that's about it, and we have implemented a chatbot model with it. Everything is explained here. I do not want to uh, let lengthen this video without any cause. So everything is explained quite clearly here. You can read it here, and I've also provided a reference where you guys can read it clearly. So uh, you guys can read it here. So that's about it. If you guys have any questions, you can just drop a comment. Thank you.